The video we just made, which we got interrupted, but that was perfect to end that there, perhaps. But you know, look, we can't have people, running around with I mean, it's what's taking place and why all this has happened. Teachable moment, as Obama would say. It's government shutdown at this point. Okay, we accepted the fact that you don't know why we couldn't have health care, and it has to change. By the way, I saw, Obama is, his use of he knows how to communicate with those who are politically, economically illuminated. That speech he made, where someone asked, he said, "Look, well, I'm not going to say there's no direct connection between economics and terrorism. It's an odd combination of words. I'm not going to say there's no direct connection between economics and terrorism, meaning there is, right?" I mean, what's happening to our society, the government, our economy is disintegrating, and we attempt to have health care. Something leads to a whole thing where the government shuts down instead of anyone getting health care, right? Okay, that we're held hostage to transnational financial capital. That's what's happening in all the societies. Imagine how exponentially worse it is if you live in a repressive Middle Eastern society. You might even attack the World Trade Organization for all we know. I mean, it's not just that what's happening is why we can't have health care, why the government shut down, why there are Hoover towns everywhere. It's also why, when I told you I do ask professors and people when certain embassies are bombed or something, why is it happening? By the way, the reason to ask would be to prevent the likelihood of it happening again. They don't know. People teaching college don't know. They're not economically literate. Remember, on September 11th, they didn't attack, the Statue of Liberty. That's the World Trade Center that fell down. I mean, is it so? Why don't we just go over a couple other facts? People who watch these videos, why run, one more factor to it. And like I said, rather than do it off the cuff, I underline something big deal. I do like the way this put it on the. By the way, why no one's familiar with the term neoliberalism? It's actually they're fully familiar with it in Europe. I mean, it's a term people use. If it's unfamiliar to you, it's intentionally unfamiliar to you. You don't want people to have a word for something they're not supposed to know about. If you had a word to name what was happening, that's why people say things like, I don't know, this scam, on Wall Street, they scam the public or something, they don't really have a word for what's happening. It's got something to do with the banks, right, it's their fault. They don't have the word. It's called neoliberalism. That's what it's called, neoliberalism. That's the word. When I say that's what it's called, that's the term used in all other industrialized societies to describe this nightmare that finally led the shutdown of our government. It leads to a lot of terrorism. All nationalists in all countries are seeing the same thing. Their societies are disintegrating. It has to stop. By the way, it's also, by the way, if anyone were to perceive when they occupied all the financial districts, if someone was to perceive they were protesting capitalism or something. Right. I mean, the statement here I underlined is an important one to know. During the transition from the 1970s going forward, that's in our lifetime, the functioning of capitalism was deeply transformed. During the transition between don't bang. Don't bang. By the way, it's not. Capitalism was reorganized with a prejudice towards transnational financial capital that has nothing to do with our country or the economies of any country. But it's why everything is happening. It's why there's so much terrorism. It's why we actually can't have health care. That kind of growth would depreciate the currency. I guarantee you, transnational investors started selling off our currency the minute healthcare was even a possibility.